You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. It's myself, Mo Mooncey, alongside me as always, three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, what's good?
Oh man, well, only terrific, only terrific. And a little play-in this evening, a little
Yeah,
play-in. What you
in full
seeing? What you
transparency,
seeing?
for our listeners, I'm a little bit nervous today
Okay, what happened?
because, in the postseason, the last couple of years, we wait until the games are finished before we record, which is
Right.
like 6 a.m. my time. Today is 5 a.m. my time. The Kings Mavs game hasn't finished. Mavs up by 20 points. But the last time we started recording a show because the team was up this much was, if you remember, the first round series between the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. And, we thought the Nuggets
Timberwolves
had,
won. Didn't
yeah,
they
they
win?
went to overtime and everything got crazy whilst we were recording the show. I don't know. It doesn't really look like the Kings are going to come back into this game. They've been pretty awful. But let's start over in the East. The 9-10 matchup, the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat.
Oh,
Miami Heat whooped them. Miami Heat whooped them. It wasn't
ooh.
really a contest. The second half of the game was not even really worth watching. So shout out to all you guys who managed to get a good night's sleep instead of staying up for this. Another season for the Chicago Bulls ending at the play-in. I can't say I'm surprised. Josh Giddey played this one through injury, but he did finish with 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. They got not much off their bench. Kobe White gave them 17 on a very inefficient night, scoring 5 of 20 from the field. Vucevic, very disappointing performance. But for the Heat, the star of the show, Mr. Tyler Hero, 38 points. And BJ, I know you were smiling at your TV because there was a sequence in the game where Tyler Hero got a steal, and instead of pulling up for a three, he took it to the hoop. I
Oh,
watched it and I thought BJ Armstrong is somewhere smiling right now. But
isn't that great?
yeah,
That's just lovely. Good for him.
yeah,
I mean, he started out like what, 8 for 8 or something like
yeah,
that.
he was on fire.
Yeah,
He was on fire. He finished with 38 points in
he
this one.
played. He was. Yeah, he was very focused, locked in, and was an
But
impressive win.
there's locked in and then there's locked up. And if you see Davion Mitchell on the other side of the court from you, consider yourself locked up
I
because
love it. I love his nickname. I love his
off
nickname.
night,
Yeah,
off
that's
night,
great.
man. That's an
That's a,
amazing. That might be one of the best nicknames in the NBA right now. I feel
that,
like
that,
I feel like the NBA doesn't really have good nicknames anymore.
well,
Like
that's a good one, and it's very appropriate.
off
Very
night for
appropriate.
Davion Mitchell might be the best nickname in the NBA right now. Can you
Uh,
think of a better one or even one that comes close?
he was great. I mean, he was all over Kobe White. He was, I
Hmm.
mean, Kobe White couldn't. I mean, I don't know what he finished. He couldn't have made more than what, 4 or 5 shots
But what, it was
all
5 of
night.
20.
Yeah, he was all over that kid, and yeah, off night and very appropriate nickname for him, and yeah, that was a great win on the road, and I mean, made it look easy. So great job by the Heat. The Heat are advancing, right? No, they have to win one more game, correct?
Yeah, they've got to go play the Hawks in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They might become the
Oh,
first ever 10th seed to win an NBA play-in and book a spot to the NBA playoffs. Who do you think is winning that game between the Heat and the Hawks?
and I was thinking as I was watching these games over the last couple of days, I was like, I think I've been off on every game. I
Do you want to know what's
think
really funny, VJ? Is you gave us a scorching hot take and then you disappeared for a week. You told us that the Phoenix Suns were going to go 8-0 to close out the season.
I
They
didn't
went
say that. I
they
did not
went
say
0 and
that.
8. No, because we got it on tape. You
I
said I read
did.
out the
I did.
fixtures and you said they can go 8-0 and
I said
they
they could.
went 0 and 8. So
They could. They could.
they
I
could,
mean,
but they didn't.
yeah, that was yeah, the Phoenix Suns. Well, I guess things happen. Things happen. So I like their team from what I could see, but clearly something was going on
Not
there.
enough ball ball. That's what happened for Phoenix.
Oh
Ain't that right?
gosh. Yeah,
Ain't that right?
I don't know what's going on with Bobo. But yeah, I think
But
I
Heat
might have
Hawks, Heat
yeah,
Hawks. Let's get back
Heat
to that.
Hawks. Yeah. I have no idea. I really don't know. I mean, it could go either way. Who knows? But
Okay, let me phrase it like this. No matter who wins that game, how many games do you think they win against Cleveland in the first round? the Heat or the Hawks. Who has a better chance of beating Cleveland? Neither. They're going to win one or two games, maybe. I don't see it though.
There's always a chance, Mo. I think that's the I think that's the athlete in me. You always have a chance.
Mm.
You always have a chance. Well, who do I think wins that game? Miami, Atlanta. I mean, the road teams. Well, I'm gonna go Heat. So that
Yeah.
means Atlanta's gonna win. I'm
Nah, I
gonna go
don't know.
Heat.
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
gonna go
know.
Heat. I'm
I
gonna go
like.
Heat.
I think the experience of Bam Adebayo anchoring that defense, Tyler Hero obviously came to play. You can even throw in a little Davion Mitchell, take Alec Burke out of that starting lineup if you want to get spicy with it, and have him guarding Trey Young for the entire night. That might be fun. That matchup with Davion Mitchell on one side, Dyson Daniels on the other side, two elite defensive guards. That'll be pretty fun. I don't know. It's kind of a coin toss for me. It's kind of a coin toss.
Yeah,
Plus,
that's what.
it doesn't move me either way, whichever one wins.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Right,
respectfully
right.
to both those franchises, if I'm the Cavs, I'm not really worried um, about either of them. It's cool. I just think the 7-8 play-in is fun. Like yesterday night was fun. Warriors, Grizzlies, fun. Heat, Magic was fun. Tonight's games have been very, and I don't like saying this because I love watching basketball, but tonight's games are very boring. Like I'm
Mm.
up here questioning my life decisions. It's 5 in the morning, and I'm just, it's cool, but I do it for the people. But the 9-10 playing, I don't know. I really don't know about this. The Kings and the Mavs. From what you watched of that before we jumped online to do this podcast, current score 103 to 85. Dallas still up. The road team coming into a hostile crowd in Sacramento, but they're getting it done. What do you think of that game? That was
Oh,
over pretty damn quickly.
yeah. It was a tough watch. Tough watch. I don't really know what to say. I
Well,
don't know what to
do
say
you know?
about
Do you know
this.
what I felt like? Right, is we watched the Bulls lose the first playing game of the evening, and now we're watching the Bulls lose the second one because it's just DeRozan and Levine in the playing game again. One thing I'm looking at
Did
from
you just
this,
say that? You just said that, didn't
yeah, of
you?
course, but am I lying? The thing I look at it is like this is like Domantas Sabonis all season. He's like, oh, I've got to see the direction of the team, and then I might request a trade, whatever. But in these games that are like high pressure games, he can't be your best player. Like, no disrespect to him. I love what he brings, physicality and so on and so forth. But in these kind of games, his limitations are kind of highlighted, especially against a team like Dallas, who has considerable size in their front line with Lively, Gafford, and T. Davis. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Kings.
Mhm.
Assuming that they lose and they don't come back and win this despite being down, what, 15, 18 points in the final 9 minutes. Where did the Kings go? Because as I said, they've basically created the Chicago Bulls in the Western Conference, a team that's going to be in the play-in every year, giving their fans a glimmer of hope, but really no substantial chance of winning anything substantial. What direction should the Kings go in here? Because they've built kind of an odd team. You've got DeRozan, you've got Levine, you've got Sabonis, and then you've got younger guys like Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, and Devin Carter has been showed flashes. That's pretty cool. But what direction should the Kings go in here?
They're kind of in a tough situation right now, and here's why: they've made these trades. They picked up DeRozan in a free agency. Then they make the trade for Zach Levine. Then they move off of De'Aaron Fox. Malik Monk gets hurt, right? He gets hurt,
Yep.
correct? So they're kind of in this odd scenario where two or three out of their top four players. I don't know what happened to Keegan Murray. Like he's just kind of I don't know what happened. He had a terrific rookie season, and then all of a sudden they get rid of Harrison Barnes, and then suddenly they fire their coach, and now they're in this I don't know where they're at. It's kind of like they have a combination of players, but they don't seem to fit, right? Sabonis was hurt, then he comes back. De'Aaron Fox is out,
They trade for Valanciunas as well.
trade for Valanciunas. So they have this mixture of players, but it doesn't look like a team. It just looked like a collection of like really talented
They've got
players.
great assets. That's the word that people use now. But like Keegan Murray, he shot 41% as a rookie from three. This season, he's shooting 34%. He's
Yeah, it's
been
some
trending
something.
downwards.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like the
something.
offense with a De'Aaron Fox is easier for a player like Keegan Murray to fit into compared to when the offense is a guy like DeRozan or Levine.
Yeah, it's again. And then I don't know. I'm just looking at their collection of players. What's their identity, or what's the identity of this team? Are they a defensive team? Are they a fast break or five out team? What's
They're
are
a
are
playing
they
team.
big?
That's what
Are
they
they
are.
small? I don't know. So we'll see. I guess we'll find out something after the after the season's over with, and
Right,
then
in 8 minutes time.
yeah, we'll begin to see what's going on here, because it doesn't feel right to me. Their season doesn't. I mean, their team doesn't feel right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on paper, it's pretty good, right? Like on paper, if this was 2K, this is like I could play with this team on 2K and win a bunch of games because you can utilize it. But real life is not the same as 2K. I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know, and we've spoken about this numerous times on the show. Like some of the moves they've made, I just question it highly. Same with the Bulls. A couple of the moves they made, but the advantage that the Bulls have is they've got young guys. They've got Buzelis. By the way, I got in trouble with our editor for pronouncing his name wrong because apparently I said Buzuelis, which sounded too much like Bruce Willis. But
Mhm.
Buzelis, I hope I'm saying that correctly today. They've got Kobe White, they've got Gideon, they've got younger guys. Whereas when you look at the Kings, they're kind of an aging team, but not contending whatsoever. So it's going to be a very interesting off season for them. Dallas Mavericks, if they go on and win this one, they face the Memphis Grizzlies for a spot in the playoffs against the OKC Thunder. How do you see that matchup going though, with the Mavs and the Grizzlies going head to head?
The bigs of Dallas could really pose some problems. When you look at their team, you can see it now that Kyrie is missing. So,
Yeah,
that's a
and he
big.
won't be back until they say All-Star break next season, but realistically, it's the season after that
Yeah.
till he's back at like full capacity.
But you can see that, you can see something, you can see what's going on. I mean, give those guys credit, Anthony Davis and those guys, they're gonna be a problem. So, I'm gonna be interested to see, Lively and those Gafford and Davis and PJ Washington. I
They're
mean,
starting Najee Marshall at point guard, which is just
y-
crazy
yeah,
because of
yeah.
the injuries, but it's still
Hmm.
pretty crazy. Like I want to see how many rebounds Jaren Jackson can get, seeing as he only got like 6 against the Warriors who played Draymond Green at center, and now he's
Right.
gonna have to go up against a team with 3 legit 7 footers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's they don't have a problem with bigs. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
Now you have to have excellent guard play. Klay Thompson, he's got about 18 or 20 tonight.
Oh,
You
he
know,
got like I think he had like 16 points in the second quarter alone. There was for the first like 10 minutes of the second quarter, he had single-handedly outscored the Sacramento Kings by himself.
and then they had the
He,
kid, what is it? Brandon Williams got,
yep.
he had like 16, 17 or so.
Yeah, he's got 17 right now and counting.
Yeah.
There might still be more in the
Um,
game for him.
so, we'll see. We'll see what this. I'm not expecting much because of, you don't have a guard play. I mean, it seemed like when you watch the game, it seemed like they dedicate a quarter to their general manager up there. I mean, okay, we
Nico,
know there was a trade. We get it, but they continue to talk about
I
the
don't think they'll
trade.
ever stop talking about the trade though. I just don't think it will ever go away. I think that the future of the Dallas Mavericks, they will never ever
I think
stop
it's
talking about
late. I
this.
think it's lazy reporting.
But do you know what I think would be the funniest thing in the world? The funniest thing in the whole world. would be if Kyrie comes back healthy and they win a championship before the Lakers win
Oh
a
gosh.
championship next season.
You know what?
Because then I want to know, is everyone still going to be mad about a trade? Like, if they win a championship, I'm not saying that they will, but I'm just saying, like, let's say Anthony Davis finally lives up to the potential that everyone says he's a top five talent in the league. You know, people have been saying that for ages. And Kyrie can get back healthy by the time the All-Star break comes around. And Klay Thompson is still shooting the lights out and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you know, well, that's too much content. That's too much to unfold. I mean, how would you even tackle that? I don't even know what you would say. Like,
They'd have to apologize to Nico. That's what they would have to do. That would be it. Like, sorry, I guess. Like, maybe it was a good move. Like, I don't know. Like, I think the entire perspective of the majority of NBA fans would have to change. If that was, not saying that is going to happen, the odds of it is probably like 1% or less. But if it was to happen, I just think it would be league altering. Everyone would be like, what the hell?
I think Mo would you would have a lot of content, my friend.
Oh
There would be
man.
a put it like this. That would lead off. That would be the whole year's worth of conversation if
Well,
that were
the,
to
the
happen.
Luca trade is pretty much giving people a year's worth of content. Like I see podcasts still talking about the Luca trade. Even today, Nico Harrison had a press conference with Dallas media members, but he didn't let anyone bring in microphones or cameras behind closed doors, and he was still talking about a trade and so on and so forth. And he's just adamant on the line that defense wins championships. Even though they got to the finals last season and they built a pretty good defensive team around Luca, who's not a good defender, but he's staying firm on his guns, or the ownership's guns, should I say? Because I don't know if he really made that move himself. But uh, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. These 9-10 playoff play-in matchups. It's an interesting evening in the NBA. Do you have any other thoughts? I feel like we could have done more to kind of analyze these games, but it's one of those
Yeah,
things. Like, come on,
I'm ready for the
guys.
playoffs. This
It's
play-in
two
game,
blowout
yeah,
games, like done by
I'm
halftime.
done with that. But I do want to say congratulations to a friend of the show, Joe Dumars
Absolutely.
in New Orleans Pelicans. You guys, you know, you picked a fantastic, I mean, a fantastic executive, Hall of Famer as a as a former player, Hall of Famer as an executive, and he's from Louisiana,
Yep.
so
Yep.
it's a
I-
homecoming. So I think this is a great pick and leadership position, and I'm excited to see what this team is going to do in the next 3 to 5 years and what they're going to do in the direction they're going to take. I can tell you this, all the young players there, for those who are listening, you have a true, you know, he's a savant when it comes to sports. Pick his brain, and you have an opportunity. You know, they have some very talented players down there,
you know,
and take advantage of that. I mean, he'll be available, and I can tell you this, he knows what he's doing. So the people, the Pelicans and the Pelican Nation, they should be very
Pelican
excited.
Nation.
Pelicans, right? Is that what they the
I don't
Pelicans,
think they
right?
have a thing.
Well,
I
they
don't
have it
know.
now. The Pelicans Nations, you know,
Pelicans
down there.
Nation, is that what it
Yeah,
is?
is that what it is?
Or they
Something
could be
down
the
there.
Smoothie King squad at the Smoothie King
Yes.
Arena.
Well, they should be excited.
You know what?
And
When I think about the Pelicans, though, like they've got some really good pieces there. I really like
yes.
the draft pick of Eves Missy. I think he's going to be a really good big. I
Yep.
really like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. I'm a
Yep.
big fan of Alvarado, as I don't think anyone can't be a fan of Alvarado. But Zion Williamson, when he is healthy on the court, is one of the best players in the NBA, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of the
yeah,
problems
yeah.
for the Pelicans come down to health. But what I like about this hire, and it's just my take on it, you can take it or leave it. What I like about this hire is obviously Joe Dumars won that championship with the Pistons in 2004, right? But what do you think about when you think about that championship? You think about defense and toughness. And those are two things that I don't think anyone has ever associated with the New Orleans Pelicans. Like Herb Jones individually is a great defender, and Trey Murphy is a good defender, and Alvarado gets these steals. But as a team, No one's looked at the Pelicans like, oh my God, this is an elite defensive team. And I think that is a byproduct of the Pelicans organization up until this point not having established a kind of culture or identity. And if Joe could go there and establish some of what he did do in Detroit, obviously Detroit had the history going back to the Bad Boys, but if he can bring some of that mental edge and the mental toughness to the Pelicans, I think that's what they've been missing all these years.
I can say this. The Pelicans will have an identity for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. They will have an identity. They in the Detroit Pistons, I can't recall just off the top how many teams have actually won a championship without a max player.
I think just them.
I,
Unless
I can't recall. I can't recall.
2015, Steph was still on the $11 million a year contract. And I don't know if they'd yet kicked in the max contracts for Clay and Draymond.
I think Andrew Bogut might have been because they traded for Andrew
Yeah.
Bogut
Yeah, because he would have got that in Milwaukee. So
in
maybe.
Milwaukee. Yeah.
Maybe. But
I
that
can't
that
recall.
that one is an asterisk because Steph Curry on $11 million. He signed that contract before he was Steph Curry that everyone knows today. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was like the most anomaly, that maybe the best value contract except for Scottie Pippen that we've ever seen in the history of the NBA.
And I can't recall, just off the top. So there are two things that I can I think I'm pretty good, account. I can say this. They already have talent, but they're gonna acquire and identify talent, and they're gonna be a tough group. That I can assure you.
Yeah, I think the
The
talent's
the
there. They've just got to kind of
yeah,
mold it in the right
the
way.
the level of professionalism
Yes.
will be at an all-time high. Now, that I can assure you. All of the stuff, I can't wait to the press conference. I think it's next Tuesday, and I'll be watching. I just expect them to really, you know, play with the level of toughness that you probably haven't seen consistently in New Orleans. They have talent, but when you put the toughness to it, and all of a sudden now you have an identity.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I expect some hard fouls now.
Yeah.
I expect some things. I expect Zion to, he's got to figure something out. He's got to figure out this is how things will be done moving forward. And if anyone can connect with this group of talented players, it's going to be someone like Joe Dumars.
A
Instant
two-time champ,
credibility. Yes.
Finals MVP, multiple-time All-Star, All NBA player, All
Yeah,
Defensive First Team year after year. Jersey retired, won a championship as a player, won a championship as an executive. Like, if you're not
This
going to
is
listen to him, who the hell are you going to listen to?
yeah.
Like,
This
come
is
on, let's
instant
just be honest.
credibility, and here's the great thing: he's approachable. So these young men will have an opportunity to work with someone who is elite. So I'm excited for New Orleans. I'm really excited for them for next year to see what they do and see how they're going to put this thing together because the we know Zion has the talent, okay? But I'm going to say this here right now. I'm not expecting Zion to just be like an all-star caliber player. I'm expecting Zion now to be the Zion that we've all been
All
anticipating.
NBA, not
I'm
just All
expecting
Star. We're
I'm
talking
expecting
All
I'm expecting
NBA.
him I'm expecting him to be in the MVP conversation. That's what I'm expecting now.
I've said that the last 2 years ago. I'm like,
Yeah,
if he can get healthy, if he can get healthy, if he can get
yeah,
healthy.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he's
yeah. I'm expecting him to be in that conversation now. Okay. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. I don't know, but I do know sometime things come together. And now I am really confident that they're gonna have everything that's possible. And this group, because they have some talent down there, Mo. I mean, those guys they got some talent.
hell yeah.
Okay. They have some talent. And if Zion can figure out, you know, and be consistent and be available to his team, they can really do some things. They can, bro, they should be as is. They should be a playoff team.
We say it every year. If
Yeah,
the
I know
Pelicans
that's what
get
I'm saying.
healthy, they could beat anyone. Like,
So
and we
I'm
saw glimpses of it. Remember that series they had against the Phoenix Suns?
you're right. And again, I know my Detroit Pistons. Well, I mean, I went through 28 losses in a row just a
Yeah,
year
well,
ago.
well, you know how I was saying that the Sacramento Kings are now the Chicago Bulls of the Western Conference. They
Right.
need to turn the New Orleans Pelicans into the Detroit Pistons of the Western Conference. And
Hey,
while they're at it, and they're hiring a new general manager in Joe Dumars, what they should do is they should hire a specialist who can come in and just make sure that there's no off-court problems because some of the guys on that squad have been and Joey's the OG now. He ain't really going to be out in the club or out in the situations
Mo,
where
are
he's
you
gonna get
available?
in
Are you
trouble.
available for
I
that? Are
would like
you?
to let Mr. Joe Dumas know right now. I will be available to just I'm still young enough to be out and about, but I know the game well enough on the court and
Okay.
off the court.
Okay.
So I'm just letting him know that maybe, to
Well,
keep
I would
the
like to put your name out there for and make that service available for all 30
all
teams.
30 teams.
Yes,
Yeah.
because hey, Mo, you're all about the game. So you want to help the game, and the game needs Mo. So most service most services are available for all 30 teams.
Except for the Lakers.
Oh, okay, except for serve 29 teams.
I can't be helping them now, can I? I can't be helping them.
Well,
But
I'm
the
sure
rest
I'm
of the league,
sure
holler at me.
their check is probably bigger than the other teams, but who's counting?
But PJ, I can't sell my soul. Come on now. I can't sell my soul. I can't do a deal with the devil. Come on now. Come on now.
Okay, okay.
I just think that's lacking in a lot of organizations. And I'll put this delicately, is a lot of the teams have people in charge that maybe can't communicate with their players in a way that players would be receptive to.
Mo, it's this is an off air conversation.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I can bridge that gap
Yeah,
because you've seen me
well,
in action. I can do the corporate boardrooms with the CEOs, and I can do what I do
I
outside
just
of
hope
work.
I just hope that our young people continue to grow in a way where they'll get there. You'll eventually we all get there. We just get there on our own timeline. So we'll get there. And sometimes you don't get a second chance to make your first impression.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to be young. Mo, I'm never going to forget what it was like to be young. I'm never going to forget. I'm never going to be that guy who all of a sudden, well, no, I was young. I get it.
See, I'm the opposite. I just think I'm never going to grow up.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of people that do that.
Well, that's another episode. The game is just wrapped up. The Dallas Mavericks are up 120 to 103 with 43 seconds left. So we can call that one
Okay.
a day. Um, we'll see the games on Friday and see how badly these teams want to qualify for the playoffs as the eighth seed. But yeah, it's another night with the Hoop Genius podcast, PJ. I appreciate you. Any closing
Appreciate it.
thoughts on these playing games that we've seen
No,
so far?
I'm ready for what Friday night. Friday night
Yep,
is
yep.
the
Friday night.
and then what is the
And
when do the big boys play?
Saturday.
Okay,
Saturday
Saturday.
early evening. It's early tip-offs. I've got to go to my friend's engagement party on Saturday
Oh,
evening, but the games would have already started by then. So, my friends, if you're listening to this, I will have my phone out and League Pass open whilst I'm at your engagement celebration. I apologize in advance, but I've got to do what I got to do.
so there are two there are a lot of good matchups,
Oh yeah.
the Clippers Nuggets, I think that's going to be fun.
Hmm.
Our Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks, that's going to be fun. And I'm going to tell you one that I'm really kind of watching very closely.
Hmm.
The Minnesota Timberwolves and the LA Lakers.
I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking about, everyone's thinking about like, okay, Mike Conley's going to be the weak spot. They can target Mike Conley. I'm like, well, just bench him and play DiVincenzo. But on the other side of the ball, Luka Doncic has an advantage over most guards that try and stop him because he's significantly stronger than all of them. I like the thought exercise. I don't know how it will work in reality for an extended period of time, but what if Julius Randle matches up with Luka Doncic and Anthony
Who's gonna
Edwards
mention?
matches up with
But
LeBron James?
yeah, you can't do that.
Why not?
Where you're gonna be, first of all, you're gonna be cross-matched. You're gonna be cross-matched during the course of the game, right? Every time,
Yeah, naturally.
you gotta cross-match. And then it's somebody there's going to be a mismatch, right? So who you going to put Conley on? You're going to
That's
put
why I
him
said
on
I'm
Rui.
benching him and putting DiVincenzo instead. So I'm going with DiVincenzo, Ant-Man, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. Gobert and
Yeah,
Jackson Hayes match up. And then I'm putting Ant-Man on LeBron. And then I'm putting Julius on Luca. And then I'm putting McDaniels on Reeves. And then I'm putting DiVincenzo on who they playing, Rui Hachimura. I can
yeah,
live with
yeah,
those
yeah,
matchups.
yeah. I'm not. I'm just interested to see this matchup. I'm really interested to see so much. So I think I may even go to a game.
Oh,
Yeah, I think this may require me to go see it. I definitely want to see. I want to see. I mean, I think this has a chance. We haven't said anything about Austin Reeves.
I did, and you guys
Yeah,
laughed.
yeah, Austin Reeves is here. Um, so I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I think I want to see what Dallas is going to. I mean, Minnesota is going to do, and I think this has a chance to be a really good playoff series.
Yep, I
And
even think Pacers and Bucks is going to be a good series. I think they're all going to be a good series, except for whoever OKC play, because they should whoop them, and whoever the Cavs play, because I don't think that these Hawks or Heat are going to put up a good fight against the Cavs, and maybe the Celtics Magic series. But the rest of them, I can't wait for all of those series.
mm,
I'm excited. We'll be
yeah,
here
I got
nice and early on Saturday morning with it, and then Sunday morning, and then basically I'm never going to sleep again. But we'll be
okay.
here for all the matchups. BJ, I
Gotcha.
appreciate you. It's
All
almost 6
right.
a.m. I'm gonna try to get some sleep before. Is the sunlight coming through my windows already? Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. Get to bed. All
Good
right, Bo.
stuff.
I'll see you
Appreciate it,
tomorrow.
brother. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Make sure
All
you
right.
subscribe to the show, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and until next time, get buckets.